What's cooking, people? Well, not sure about you, but I thought that Nintendo Direct was pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie, I'm struggling here with the amount of content that I want that is coming out for the Switch in rapid succession. As we all know,
I got 5 kids to feed.
and I can't afford to keep up with all this content. For once, I wish there was a software drought. Just so that I could have enough time to recover from spending X amount of cash on new releases, and also a good amount of time to play them. And after this direct, it's not going to get any easier. Even well into 2018, which already is looking and sounding like another killer year for the Nintendo Switch. So, what were my highlights of this direct? Well, let's quickly talk about the obvious first before I start talking about what I consider to be, door openers for Nintendo and the Switch. And even the obvious has my hype levels through the roof. Mario Odyssey is going to be the best 3D Mario ever made. Don't even argue with me. Like with Breath of the Wild, there are times where we have to admit to ourselves that those previous games in those series have been dethroned. Breath of the Wild for me easily pushed Ocarina of Time off its throne, and I have no shame in saying that. It's not a slant on Ocarina of Time in any way. It's actually a compliment to have a game that can elevate itself above such greatness. Mario Odyssey might not have the same impact as Mario 64 had on gaming and the 3D platforming world in general, but it will still surpass it, I feel, in every way, in level design, gameplay, originality, and most of all, fun. Some of the gameplay that was shown off just had me smiling the entire time. I said I wasn't going to watch any more Mario Odyssey related stuff because I wanted a lot of it to be a surprise when I actually get the game. But how could I resist? Another contender for best game ever made, in my opinion. Then you have the photo mode in the game, which looks like all kinds of fun. And once again, I wish that Miiverse was around on the Switch to show off these pictures to the core Switch owners. But still, I'll be going out of my way to make some exceptional pictures using this mode for Mario Odyssey. And in some ways, this is a game changer for Nintendo games and Mario games in general. I just wish that this mode was in Breath of the Wild. You had to camera in that game. I just wish this mode was in Breath of the Wild. But let's see if Nintendo incorporates it into more of their games. And I guess Splatoon 2 can already be counted in that. Moving on, we got Xenoblade 2, which is coming out on December the 1st with this sexual limited edition that will be mine.
It's mine. My own. My precious.
In the past, I've played and rinsed both Xenoblade games, so my hype for this game is pretty much up there with Mario. I think this might actually be one of the best RPGs to ever grace a Nintendo console. I know that's a bold statement, for sure, as we've had some stellar industry-changing RPGs on Nintendo platforms, but once again, people, we can hold onto our nostalgia forever. That's not a problem, but we must also recognize when those games have been surpassed in terms of their core designs. But of course, we'll never forget their impacts. Those original games, we'll never forget those. But Xenoblade 2 looks absolutely delicious, and like Zelda, I'm ready to pump another 200 hours into this game. Then we have Octopath Traveler, the Switch exclusive 2D HD, as they call it, JRPG. Dropped a much more detailed video and looks absolutely stunning, if you ask me. Seriously, look at this game, then look at the recent efforts they put into the Secret of Mana remake, and I'm telling you, it's night and day. Square still got the talent to create unique and stunning looking titles, and I'll be all over this game upon release. The art style of this game is I find absolutely delicious. It brings back, those memories of the PS1 era of Squaresoft RPGs, where you had those beautifully 3D rendered backgrounds, where you could spin the camera around, and the villages and just the world itself would look beautiful in this, in a 3D at the time. And then for the actual characters, they would be, these wonderfully animated 2D sprites. And for me, I absolutely love and adore that style of, or art style, in terms of classic JRPGs. So it's absolutely wonderful to see such an art style being recreated for modern eras. I mean, it elevates it beyond anything that we've seen from Square before in terms of that style of RPG. And I think Octopath Traveler is going to be absolutely a beautiful game to behold, with some stunning shadows and lighting effects, and hopefully the musical score as well. And already from what I've heard, is going to be something special as well. So, but in the meantime, a demo has surprisingly dropped for the game on the eShop, and after a quick blast, I can confirm that this game is going to be something special, and I'm really looking forward to it. Having played and completed the first Bravely Default, and dabbled in a sequel a little, which I still have yet to complete, mostly because of time. I'm getting more confident in this studio's ability to deliver solid classic JRPGs with nice, unique twists in their gameplay, welcoming twists in their gameplay. So yeah, Octopath Traveler looks absolutely phenomenal. Then we have this arcades classic title. Now this is a very interesting beast, I feel. First of all, I thought that this was going to be part of their new virtual console service or something, just when they showed it, but it turns out it's a standalone title, which for me throws a whole bunch of questions into the air. This is mostly because Nintendo already confirmed that their subscription service will have NES games for free with online multiplayer attached, but here we are, yes, with arcade games, but still, these are classic titles that appeared on the NES as well, and are being sold standalone. All I can say to this is that I'm a little confused right now. I need further time to digest this or get more information later. But in the meantime, please let me know your own thoughts on this particular title. And moving on to I suppose you would class as the big AAA announcements. Doom 64 still remains an N64 exclusive, as far as I'm aware. That version of the game hasn't been released on any other platform, which, considering Doom's history of porting to every system known to man, it's kind of a miracle. And also, the last time Doom was on a Nintendo home console, if I remember correctly. And here we are with Best Feather, a developer I hate to the bones, yet a publisher who is very successful and is surprisingly one of the biggest AAA supporters on the Switch at the moment. Skyrim hasn't even released, and here we are with 2 more Best Feather titles, and not only that, modern titles to boot. But this is a door opener, probably the one the Switch needed the most to not only shut up, but also show those Nintendo Switch haters, I suppose, that the Switch is indeed a modern console architecture-wise and can produce competent versions of modern AAA games to play at home on the go. One interesting thing here is that for the multiplayer, you have to download that mode separately, whilst the main single-player mode with all its DLC will be on the cartridge. Not an issue for those who buy digital, of course, but maybe for those who buy physical. But we're starting to see this a lot with physical Switch games now, especially when we enter the realms of the big AAA games that require gigabytes of data. Depending on the title, these are things we'll just have to accept. We've done in the past, and we have to accept it now. And with all the bonuses and minuses that come with it. And finally, we have like games like NBA 2K18, FIFA 18, WWE 2K18. For me, I'm getting those Nintendo 64 vibes again, which for me is nothing but good news. Moving on to the next title, we have a surprising release, I feel. Arena of Valor, is a MOBA, on a Nintendo console. I don't know of any other MOBA to hit a Nintendo console before, so this took me by surprise for some reason, and is another door opener to this type of software that this system can deliver. Once again, such multiplayer games can take full advantage of the console's unique features, and I hope it opens the doors to other more popular titles of this nature, as it can prove to be a very attractive thing for local multiplayer esports titles, something that Splatoon and Poker Tournament will take full advantage of, or have taken full advantage of. The Switch is the most diverse console ever made. There's no doubts about it. And finally, the last game I want to touch upon is the announcement that Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to the Nintendo Switch, but only in Japan. This is both incredible and terrible news for me. Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast holds a very, very special place in my heart. It was in many ways my first online MMO, so to speak, and created memories of legend amongst some very close friends, where we played that game to death. When the Dreamcast died and went offline, I continued to play the game on the GameCube until finally leaving the series behind. But man, I've been meaning to do one of my spotlight videos on elements of Phantasy Star Online that I loved, something that I shall certainly get done in the near future. But to have this game come over to the West would be a megaton for me. Don't get me wrong, I know it wouldn't conjure up the same feelings of nostalgia as the original did, and hell, it might not be as good, although I've watched enough videos and read enough reviews to make me believe that it would be more than fine. But man, Phantasy Star Online 2 is such an ideal game for the Switch. It just brings me to tears that it might not ever come out in the UK or in the West in general, seeing as it's already been out for years already on other platforms. But anyway, a wealth of other things were shown and announced, and the Switch is slowly turning into one of the most interesting Nintendo systems ever made. Dare I say, one of the best Nintendo systems ever made, and we're only 7 months in. With everything that is already announced, even the stuff like Metroid Prime 4, the unknown Pokemon title, the full-blown Fire Emblem, Yoshi's, the Kirby's, the No More Heroes, etc. Seriously, the console's first 2 years are beyond incredible, and like I said, this is only the first 7 months. Awesome stuff. What a time to be a gamer. As always, thanks for listening, and let me know your thoughts of the Nintendo Direct below. Peace.